Hello, welcome to another tonalist landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Out of the Woods. It's an 8 by 10 and I did it a few days ago, and it went really great. What was interesting is that I've had this reference set up for ages. And I actually did make another very small painting from it maybe 2 or 3 years ago that was like a 5 by 5. That was just okay. I think I sold it or something, but maybe not. It's hard to say because I don't remember stuff like that all that well. But um, it was okay. But I had done that as a square, and I kept thinking, yeah, I could do something else with that. I could do something with it. Um, and so I worked pretty hard to kind of set it up in Photoshop, and then it's just been sitting in my little reference folder. And then the other day, I've been meaning to get into 8 by 10s, and let's lay a tip on you. Heck, 8 by 10s, why are they a good size to paint? Well, you can find a ton of really interesting and excellent frames in that 8 by 10 size. The reason is, especially, well, I won't get ahead of myself. I will say you can get excellent frames in an 8 by 10 size because it's a standard photographer portrait size, and like so many standards that I don't know how far back it goes, but it's going to stay with us. Other good sizes for standard sizes are like 5 by 7, 4 by 6, 3.5 by 5. Square, when you get into squares, it's a bit problematic. 11 by 14. You can find 9 by 12s. That is a standard size. You can find definitely 16 by 20. I'd say is another big standard. Also 1824, 12 by 16. These are sizes where you can find frames that are ready made. Now, if you're painting on canvas, especially these wraparound canvases, like a lot of artists do, it's like, yeah, you go, I can't afford frames anyway. I'll just do that. But I don't like canvas, so it's never been an option for me. I like panels. I've worked on every different type of panel. But so if I have several really excellent 8 by 10 frames here, and there was a period of time, if you look at the beginnings of this channel after the Tonalist Masters, you'll see just about everything on the channel is either an 8 by 10 or a 5 by 7. And the reason I did that is I just felt, well, I can find excellent frames, and the area I was in was going through a bit of an economic depression, so I thought, no, I'll just do small pictures and put them in ready-made frames, and I did that for a while. But I can find the 8 by 10 proportion very frustrating as a horizontal. As a vertical, I think it's amazing, but I keep thinking, well, that there has always got to be a way to solve any problem. So I haven't given up on doing horizontal 8 by 10s, and I have to say, this painting came out awesome. I was really stoked. It came out way better than I thought it was going to come out from the reference. It's, actually the live video was be in the members area, and I may be starting a little thing where I release the live videos for a day or two prior to moving them to the members area. Uh, just because, just trying to get you to see what an awesome value the members area is, especially for new subscribers that may not even be aware, pardon me, that there is a live section of the channel, and that a lot of people that have come to the channel would have done so from, I put up almost nothing but live videos for maybe 6 months, and the occasional 15-minute video, where now it's flipped around. There's all 15-minute videos, and the live videos have been scooting over to the members area, which is really where I want to keep them, but I do want to do some things to bring attention to these live videos, because I think, frankly, if you are hungry for information, there's nothing better than to see the actual painting happening in real time. Yeah. I try to provide you with insights and inspiration here in these 15-minute videos, but it's you know, it's what I can do. Let's talk a little bit about the painting. So, in a scene like this, where I have a lot of trees overlapping the sky, I don't think it's really good to get super fancy with the sky, like do some super involved sunset. I mean, you probably could, maybe if you were painting it really big. By the way, I mean, you could do a 1620 this size, which would be 4 times bigger. You might have some room to put some, little sunset back there. But the other thing is like, in the photo reference, of course, it would have been blown out, and until photography, which I believe that's a problem they're going to be solving. Probably in the next few years. People will look at old photos with the blown out skies and go, "Why are all the skies blown out? What was wrong?" Well, it's because it's very difficult for a camera to expose for the dark areas and the extreme brightness of the sky at the same time. And we as humans, we have our own strategies for doing that. We're basically creating all of the images we see in our mind's eye. Maybe you weren't aware of that. Maybe you thought you were just seeing stuff. But what your eyes do is collect information, but the picture you see, what you perceive as reality, is created in your mind. That's just a fact, and it's an important fact for painters to know and be aware of. Because if we create paintings that are so complex and convoluted that people have to try and perceive them the same way they perceive reality, we're not doing our job as painters. One of the things that painters do is to simplify things so that they just go right in, so the picture just goes right in to the mind directly without having to be filtered or digested. The analogy that I like to use is like baby food. You wouldn't feed your baby a steak, but you could definitely feed your baby a steak if you run it through the blender. And so paintings are like steaks. You can take that as a lesson from today's video. The other thing about this video, so a lot of complexity in all the bushes and trees and everything, but lately I've been coming up with some strategies for that I've been working well for me. I mean, it's been an ongoing process, but basically I try to break everything up into fairly large shapes and that are interesting shapes. That's the other thing. And in this painting, I really left things quite like that. I have some very interesting modulations, like you can see. I'm doing the red into green thing as I always do, but there's some spots that are almost pure red that modulate into green, and I was pretty excited by that as the painting was coming together. Some of you might notice too, I left a little house in there, which, hey, why not? I can do it. It was pretty incongruous, and it seemed to work so well in the composition right where it was, so I left it there. And what we have is a painting of us coming out of the woods, and we can see a little clearing, and there's a little house, and probably some woods right there on the other side. Yeah. Getting into some other tips. So, strategies, right? One of the reasons why I've been going a bit more graphic-y with a lot of the paintings is, I think, as a result of working on the smooth panels, whereas with the texture, I had a bit of an aid. I would definitely say working on texture, even canvas has a texture that can provide an aid, but on the smoother boards, I end up having to sort of draw things more, I would say, and I have to build up textures and colors and things just on the smooth. So one of my strategies has been basically how I'm handling the brush has changed a bit, and also the level of simplification has increased a bit, yeah, which I think is great. If you look at mature painters, you can see that their work tends not to get more complicated as they get older. It gets simpler, and On the other hand, even though that's being said, I don't believe that you can have things in your process as an artist that work. And some ideas you can say, like I've had ideas like I want to paint brighter, or I want to paint like this or that, but the what always came out of it was really nothing, you know. Because for me, what doesn't work, and I can probably say it probably wouldn't work for you, is like these overt things, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to make a graphic painting, I'm going to make a much brighter painting. I think those sorts of ideas and thoughts can definitely work when you're starting out, but when you get to where I'm at, you have some control, but a lot of times the painting kind of dictates how the painting's going to go. And I think it's good to relax. Even if it's taking you in a bad direction, you're probably better off seeing it through. So I start with ideas and I start with a process. What is my process? I prep a board. I have some reference that's inspiring. Generally, when I come into the studio, I say, what size painting do I want to do today? I look at boards I have prepped, because if I want to paint, I don't want to do board prep first, because I like those boards to be cured a bit. I don't think it's that great to throw a fresh oil painting on top of an acrylic, a board that's been prepped with acrylic when the acrylic hasn't really had a chance to at least dry for a day or two. What could happen? I don't know. I've deviated from that when I felt I've needed to. Speaking of, I'm noticing as we're watching this video here, there is one thing that I did that I didn't know I was going to do, and that was I started bringing in a bunch of purples in areas that, and you can see it's very complementary to the green. You can create whole paintings off of purples and greens. It's very powerful. Purple is a color that works great in the landscape. And I believe I had someone on the channel ask me about purple shadows, and I may have addressed it, but the purple shadows, you can throw purple into your shadows if you want. I tend to throw more reds into the shadows and things, but purple shadows, going after purple shadows, overtly going after purple shadows, to me that's kind of an impressionist thing. I think it's good to paint the shadows so they look like shadows, and that might be black or that might be a color. There's an awful lot of training that goes on, and in, uh, for modern painters that want to do realistic work, and most of that training is stressing how black is a bad color and you don't want to use it to just make shadows and stuff. And there are some dangers in using black. It can make your paintings really ugly if you are let's say you have a darker area, like an area in shadow. The natural thing might be, well, I'll just add some black to this, it'll be darker, but it'll also be dingier. So that's not, if you don't want it dingier, then don't do that. Mix that color. And black could be a portion of that. You never know. Anyway, tried to throw a few tips your way. I'm pretty stoked with this painting. I love it. I haven't popped a frame on it yet. I'm going to have to bring one to the studio. I haven't done an 8x10, especially an 8x10 horizontal, for a long time. But I definitely had it in my mind since I have some cool frames. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for joining me now. Well, actually, there's a minute left, but if you haven't liked the video, could you please, you've made it 14 minutes in, just click it. There you go. Thank you. Also, subscribe if you haven't, if you want to. I mean, I'm here all the time, so. And the members thing is generally, there's not just live videos there's also videos containing super secret information that if I was to give it out publicly, I would probably be, put up against a wall somewhere. So we don't want to talk about that, but join and find out what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, and there's my website. Tip on over there. Just put some new things in the store that are pretty exciting. You really, my favorite way to be supported is by people buying my paintings. But you can also leave me a donation there, or just meander around. There's plenty of stuff to look at there. Anyway, till I get back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid, please. Take good care of yourself, all your loved ones. Try and love your enemies. Be patient with people, and stay out of